Hello everyone, this is Senor Garcia and today I will be introducing Scratch Junior to you guys. First of all, I'll start by explaining what is Scratch Junior. Well, Scratch Junior is a tablet app that students of all ages can use to create simple programs such as stories, games, and animations. The iOS app was released in the summer of 2014 and was created by MIT and Tufts University. The app got such great reviews by educators for its easy, user-friendly, basic code programming that the Android app was released a year later in 2015. Scratch Junior is actually the little brother of MIT's web-based coding program called Scratch. And within Scratch, people can do so many more things. You can do basic to more abstract coding activities, whereas Scratch Junior is just basic, an introduction to coding, and you use a block system that I'll talk more in a little bit. One of the pros and cons of Scratch Junior is that Scratch Junior is the only coding that's available on mobile devices and not Scratch. Again, let me restate that Scratch Junior is available on mobile devices and Scratch is not. Scratch is only web-based. And since Scratch Junior is focused towards the younger kids, I do believe that it's highly safe. It's safe for all kids of all ages. And their website is available to all parents and educators, and all of their lessons on here are free of charge. You can make copies, you can use them in your classrooms, you can post them. So the copyright policies and the policies by Scratch Juniors have allowed for educators to use them freely. So you're probably wondering, how can you use Scratch Junior to support your learning in your classroom? Or what can students learn from Scratch Junior? Well, in my classroom, I feel that one of the big things that I'm always trying to push is abstract thinking. And that's what Scratch Junior forces students to do, is to think abstract. And it's a new way of literacy, basically. Students have been learning many years how to, read from textbooks to novels, and this is just a new way for students to learn how to speak and write and read, is through coding. And I believe that through this abstract thought process, Scratch Junior gives them the opportunity to put their thought process on a screen. And once the thoughts are made concrete, the students are able to manipulate and control these thoughts with movable blocks. And because they're also displayed on a screen, teachers can also see what and how a student is thinking. Scratch Junior helps with this visualization. It makes it clear what they're doing, what they're thinking, and the coding blocks that are used in the app appeared as colored boxes, and they snap together so that the programs can be built. And rather than using commands like in other coding apps, just makes it very simple and very basic, and very visual too. Some of the activities that I've used Scratch Junior in my classroom is I've used it for storytelling. When we're learning a new story element in the classroom, I always give the option of students using Scratch Junior. Also vocabulary, when we introduce new vocabulary words, students can create a Scratch Junior story implementing those vocabulary words. I've also used it for math. There is a XY coordinate grid. I'll show you right here, right there. I've used that where students had to put a certain character at a certain XY coordinate. Um, I've used it for many different activities, but I've used it primarily for storytelling and vocabulary, and in some instances for math. Um, the website. So the website has very many useful resources, and I've put a lot of those on this Google Doc right here on this additional information with the handouts. So the first one is right from the website, is this interface guide, and I've just put them there as PDFs for easy access. And they're straight from the website here from this learning tab. They have interface guide, they have paint editor guide. The one that I think it's probably the most useful and most important one is the block description one that I spend a little bit time going over with the class. I try not to cover everything because it's overwhelming, and plus I want students to learn through trial and error as well. I want them to have some struggle while learning Scratch Junior and be able to reflect on what they struggled with and how they overcame that and what they learned. There's also a tips and hints, kind of an easy guide for anyone to kind of watch a video on what they want to learn. The most important resource, I think, is this tab here, the Teach one. And it has 9 introduction activities for students to do. You can do them as a whole class. You can do them individually. I choose to partner up my class and have them do all 9 activities, so that way they become familiar with the tools. I don't do as a whole class. I kind of let them go at their own pace. So I created this checklist for students to use. I put the 9 activities here for students to know which one they're working on. In the second column, they just put a check mark or an X when they have completed it. And then the third column is a reflection. I have this number system. A 1, I did it, but I need more practice. A 2, I can do it, but only if I get help with my partner. And 3, I can do it on my own and show someone else how to do it. And then we have this system in my class where one student is the pilot and the other student is the co-pilot. So what I mean by that is the pilot would get the iPad, and here's the first activity. Can I make my car drive across the city? So the pilot would select and input all of these functions into the Scratch Junior app. So their job is to put these into the app, and the co-pilot, their job is to give them the directions. And they have to work exclusively together, and then after they're done with the activity, they flip-flop, and then the other student now is the pilot, and the student who is the pilot is now the co-pilot, and they just take turns. And by the time they get to activity number 9, they should have a good grasp of the tools and the block system and the grids and everything that Scratch Junior has to offer. And then they get to have some fun and they get to create their own story. And this is where students really, really get to show their creativity and get to show students who haven't learned all the blocks yet. And this is just a great opportunity for those kids to kind of come out of their shell and excel where, other instances they wouldn't be able to. So I know this was just a very short introduction, but I really hope that you guys really let your students just kind of dive in and explore Scratch Junior. I myself enjoy this, and I know at first you want to go in and show kids everything, all the icons and everything, but I highly recommend you just take a back seat and just have students explore and just learn through trial and error, and just have the kids just present and just have them show their learning. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys use this, and I can't wait to see what kind of activities you guys come up with. All right, thank you.